Hi guys, Jason here from Godlike Productions once more, and a bit more studio setup time. This time I'm going to get all the groove boxes, or most of the groove boxes in place, and set up the shelves on the side of the rack. So you can see I've already got the right hand shelf set up there. Just go through, chopped a little bit of footage out here, just finding the power transformers for some of the groove boxes. We'll see they're setting a deluge up on either side of the mixer. And the focus really is to run, I do run a few audio cables here, but the main part is really to get the MIDI set up, as I did in the last video. We were working on the MIDI from the rack. Now, just getting it up to all of the various groove boxes, I get them in place. So the right hand side really mainly focused around drums and groove boxes. Left hand side is really the 303s and more melodic stuff. I'm going to put the push on the left hand side as well. Just trying to find the right cable to connect these few bits and pieces up. I've got you should use some little stands here to make the groove boxes at a good angle. So I get these from IKEA. A little bit later I'll show you the white ones, but the black ones are there as well. Black ones are a little bit bigger. They're not very expensive, they're only, I don't know, about $10 each. There's a mighty 909. So my 909's been quite heavily modded, so I can tune a lot more of the different drum sounds, and I've just put the new 909 upgrade in, which, if I remember, I'll pop a link down below. That's a new operating system for it. It lets you go into pattern mode and pattern edit without stopping the play button. It's probably the biggest feature of it, but there's a lot of other stuff. Heaps more memory banks. So yeah, really worthwhile upgrade. A bit difficult getting into my 909. Mine's sort of been through the wars over the years internally, but it works really well. It's got a really good sound. So TB03. It doesn't end up living there. I've just got it there for time being, but just crowds up a bit, so I move it across the other side. Yeah, not so easy to get behind the racks anymore. Not as easy as it used to be, but it's what I'm going to need to do to stay in this room. Alright, it's the Electribe Digitone. So that's a pretty new acquisition. I just picked that up off my bandmate, and I got a model cycle, so a bit of FM goodness there. That's the Isberget from IKEA. So if you want to find those little stands, that's the one to get. They're great for groove boxes. Alright, this is how the rack sets up. So this is the left hand side. Let's move it across. It just latches in to the main rack. So those are actually the front and back parts of the rack. And then I've made these extra shelves myself, the second tier. That's deluge number 2. So for the live rig, they really have become, the main focus points. That and the EMX, I guess, and the Electribes. Jamie certainly is much more into the Electribes than I am, and I really have taken to the workflow of the deluges. So they're what I'm doing. And I have loopbacks on them so I can record back into real time with all the effects on top. So I'm not limited. I can basically, yeah, record the studio into the deluges with all the juicy effects and everything. And so I can get a lot more mileage out of it. Can perform live. So there's a TD3 and a TD3 MO. And then the Roland TB3 at the back. Right now, that MIDI cable I've just coiled up there, one of the cables inside that, there's six cables in there, one of them causes me a whole world of grief later on. There is a short circuit. It's a bit more than intermittent. It's certainly sound. I think it's some loose cables, or it hasn't quite been soldered properly, or got stripped too much when they were assembling it. And when you bend it and move it, it often makes contact and just shorts out a couple of the pins. So I can't get MIDI power over it while that's plugged in. It just drains all the power out of the T8 because that's all passively powered. Alright, we can see the push 2 there. And I've also got an Akai APC 40, which I mainly use now for video work. I think I was contemplating putting some rack bits up, but I'm going to do that a little bit later. It's the SPL gear there, and a Behringer Ultra Bass Pro. It's time to start powering a few bits and pieces up. I think this is just about where my nightmare for the day began. So I'm not getting all the certainly not getting all of the MIDI clock through that I was hoping. So I think just a reminder how I'm running the MIDI clock here. So it comes from the ERM multi-clock, is really the main clock. And when I'm working from the computer, that is triggered through the plugin in Ableton, and that then syncs up to Ableton, and then the MIDI clock gets sent out from the ERM multi-clock. So it runs, there's 8 channels or 8 MIDI cables of clean clock that run out of the T8. Then on the Music Quest, the MIDI interface, that's got a patch bay on it, so that has another 8 MIDI ports where the clean clock goes through, but it also, the MIDI from Ableton goes through that as well. And I can also do routing from there, so the deluges plug into that, and they can control the synths directly. And I've got another MIDI patch bay up in the rack on the left there, and one of the deluges will run into that, and then that will go off and I can control the synths, or again that can be controlled from the computer as well. So that's for the Jupiter 8, the Kurzweils, the King Korg, and the stuff that's over the other side of the room. So I've given myself really the flexibility. Also that other MIDI patch bay, that's that's got a clean clock in it as well, so that gets transmitted on the backbone of that. So all the stuff is synced to the same clock, and then I add in the MIDI either from the deluges or from Ableton. And so the studio, pretty much by just clicking a few buttons, I can change it from doorless to running off Ableton, which is a really nice way to do it. Yeah, this is me trying to figure out why clock's not working. It takes me a little while. So one of the good things about the ERM multi-clock is you can send a groove from there. And the other thing that you can do is that you can make fairly minor micro adjustments on the timing. So if you've got some synths that are lagging or have got a little bit of delay from the MIDI clock, you can bring them all back in to get them all lined up really, really nicely. And it's got 4 separate outputs. You could also send DIN sync if you want that, if you want got something that's synced to DIN. I don't use DIN sync very often. I have used it when we've had the 808 in the studio, but I don't tend to use it. The Jupiter 8, I don't sync like that. I sync that over MIDI, and generally I just play that with MIDI rather than relying on the arpeggio on it. The 909 synced over MIDI. I get really good sync with that. And I might do a tutorial just on the MIDI connections there. I had someone talking to me about it the other day, and he was a bit bamboozled about his own studio, about how to keep everything synced up. So might be worthwhile doing a tutorial on that at some stage, just show you how I sync everything up, because I think, you know, I've got a lot of stuff in my studio. It's probably more than most people, and you know, if I can get good sync out of here, then certainly it's possible to get a good sync in smaller studios and that. But there are a few things to watch out for, and a few techniques to do to keep that going. And I guess for us, it's many years of hard-won experience to keep MIDI sync really, really tight. And I think the people that have seen us perform live, you know, we often get complimented and questions about how we keep everything so tight in terms of the performance and keep all the hardware synced up so well. And I think the real clue is you know, keep as clean and short MIDI runs as you can, so you're not looping things through ports if you can at all avoid it. And yeah, make sure you've got a really good reliable clock, and that you understand how your clock's going out to everything. Alright, this is me still fossicking around trying to solve this MIDI problem. So you see the T8 in the front's meant to have a light on it, and it's not there. It sort of had me bamboozled a little bit. And I was starting to suspect about this time that I might have had a short circuit somewhere. And I think that's why I got the multimeter. I think I've got the multimeter here, but if I haven't got it here, I'd soon pick it up and start probing the actual MIDI cable. So I'll take the T8 out now, and you sort of see I pull out all the cables. Give it a test to make sure it's running. It's certainly running off a direct cable, so we're plugging everything back in. I think I'd identified which one was the problem. You can see the little red light in the front of it now. But yeah, it's a bit disappointing. This is a brand new cable that I bought, or brand new loom. And I've found this a few times. I've bought new cables, and either they're wired up wrong, or you know, this one here is just a short circuit in it. So yeah, I'm trying to get good cables, and I think this particularly for audio cables. That's why I spend so much time building them. But I may have to start doing that for MIDI cables as well. Up to now, I've just bought them. MIDI cables, they're a lot more tedious to wire up because the pins are fairly small. You need a multi-core cable. So the cables are more expensive, and they're just less fun to do, but yeah, we'll see. I'll probably repair that one. I'll give that a go, see how I feel about making more MIDI cables. Alright, this is me discovering another problem with the DM Pro. I think I alluded to this in the last video. So I think during transport coming across Australia, one of the ROMs got shaken loose. And it sort of forgot its memory and it got all corrupted. So I have now since fixed that, but it was certainly an issue there with the ROM. But yeah, I had to basically do a hard reset, so I've lost all my presets off there. I've got a backup somewhere, so I'll pull them off and dump them over via SysX. But again, it's a fairly clean slate anyway. I hadn't done all that much. Well, I mean, I've done a bit of programming on it, but not a huge amount. So yeah, the DM Pro, yeah, needs a bit of love. Anyway, guys, coming to the end of this video, I think I had enough of pulling MIDI apart. So again, thank you very much for tuning in. I'll put the subscriber link down below, and I'll catch you guys later. See ya.